This is a Riese Muller Load 60 touring e-bike. This is a cargo e-bike. The cargo area supports 100 kilos and it is stable. This one in particular is a class 1 350 watt 20 mile per hour e-bike with a Bosch PowerPack 500,
which is UL listed,
and Performance Line CX mid-drive motor,
which is also UL listed. The charger is a 36 volt fast charger at 4 amps and it is also UL listed. Certification to UL 2849 is the gold standard for e-bike systems. The price of the Riese Muller Load 60 starts off at $87.39 and call to customize your build because the price goes progressively higher as you upgrade the LCD panel, as you upgrade the battery to dual batteries, as you upgrade the motor. It can go as high as $13,000.
The reason why these bikes are so expensive is because they offer expensive components like these Schwalbe Big Bend Plus 20-inch tires, like these 160 millimeter Tektro rotors, hydraulic Tektro brakes, Muller light adjustable SR Suntour shocks. The rear sports a 26 by 2.15 inch tire with 203 millimeter rear rotor with Tektro hydraulic brakes. If you take a look at this rear rack, it is completely suspended and it's mounted to the rear of the bike. The entire section is also supported by a shock. To better understand what is going on with this e-bike, this is a full suspension e-bike and these are the pivot points in which the bikes react to. So that means that this structure that I'm drawing an outline, this entire structure is going to be floating. So anything on this rear rack is going to be floating. Anything person sitting here is going to be floating. Anybody in this barrel or whoever's in the load area is going to be floating, which makes for a very comfortable ride. Here's the gear system and it has a little illustration of how steep the incline is. And down here you can see that it is an internal gear shifting system. All right, so these come apart and the handlebar can actually be folded for transportation, making it shorter and more sleek in case you need to put this on top of a roof rack. The handlebars can be raised or lowered. Just press that in, as you can see right there. So this is power assist levels off, Eco, Tour, Sport, Turbo. It has this somewhat cheap looking bell, but I'll tell you, it's really loud. It's pretty nice. Okay, so this e-bike has a smaller front wheel, which makes it easier to turn, I believe, and makes the turn sharper, and that makes up for the long size of this e-bike, and it's quite easy to handle. And because it's so lightweight, you know, I'm just doing this with one arm. If it was a really heavy bike, it would just tip over and get all over the place and just fall down, right? But because the lightweight manner, I think it's because everything is such low center of gravity, all the weight's on the bottom, and if you have that much weight on the bottom and you're handling the top, it's just the leverage is on your side.
The kickstand are these 2 feet wide apart, and if you have enough momentum, it'll just pop right up just like that. To get it into a parking position, you simply touch the floor and pull the bike backwards. It is an excellent kickstand.
All right, so here's the 15% grade, and it's a cargo bike. I'm gonna need some cargo. We're gonna see how it's like going up this 15% grade with some cargo. It's kind of difficult getting to move. Yeah, so this thing would have been nice if it had a throttle, but it doesn't. There we go. I'm moving now. And it's effortless. And I really mean it. Okay, and here we go. Yeah, because of the gearing system, I'm bringing a whole maybe 70 kilograms of person. Oh man, but this is going to be difficult. And I make. That's it. I cannot make it. It's not that I can't make it. It's just it's a bit sketchy. You need a bit more speed, and this hill is just too much for it.
The Riese Muller Load 60 uses a mid-drive motor. There is a lot of torque and it is efficient, and the weight distribution is phenomenal. However, because of the long length of this e-bike, you need a minimum speed to be maintained to keep balance. It is only 2 wheels after all, and you are heavily reliant on the shifting mechanism. And I found out on very steep hills that you cannot maintain a very high speed, and it makes it somewhat challenging to conquer very tough hills despite having the advantage of a mid-drive motor. In practice, I'd say that it wasn't much better than a hub drive motor in this scenario. If you frequent steep hills like this, definitely consider the Performance Line upgrade, the HS model. It gives you Bosch's Performance Line motor, which gives more torque and higher top speed because you need the speed when you're approaching these types of hills. The Performance line of motors will give you 28 miles per hour top speed, an additional 10 Newton meters of torque, and will set you back $600.
All right, we're gonna do the speed test, and I'm in turbo mode because, well, I feel like going on turbo mode. And this thing has a gear system, and I don't believe that the speed goes up until you start shifting the gear. Right now, I could only go 11, 12 miles an hour, but here, I am now shifted to the highest gear,
which is a twist throttle-like gear system.
And now you could really fly through the streets, but you have to pedal to get to the speed. And this is almost 20 miles an hour, 19.9. If I pedal harder, there you go, 21 miles an hour. There's a slight grade here, so keep that in mind.
Next up is the brake test. We're gonna see how well the brakes work.
Okay, these are hydraulic brakes, right? Both of them. So I'm gonna get some speed, and we'll stop at like 20 miles an hour. Okay, just right at the sign. I'm almost there, ready. Whoa. Okay, so you brake. They are very sensitive, very strong. If you brake too fast, you could skid. So just buyer beware, okay? As you can see, I'm riding downhill right now, and the brake works fine. It's actually stupidly good, okay? Because I have other e-bikes that can't brake particularly well downhills, or at least the wheels start skidding pretty quickly. But this one, this is a high-end bike, and it is living up to its high-end price tag.
Let's talk about the size of the Riese Muller Load 60. I measured this e-bike to be 98 inches, and there is no way that I can fit this in a minivan. You're gonna need a truck if you want to bring it anywhere. Let's talk about the range. The Riese Muller uses the Bosch system, and it has a Bosch range calculator, and here's the tool, and it tells you based on how much capacity you're going to carry, based on the riding mode, you can get more or less depending on what mode you're going on. And because you're pedaling all the time, this is going to be somewhat accurate because there's a lot of scenarios that you can be riding with. And with this cargo, maybe you could be riding with 150 kilograms, going 16 miles an hour in turbo mode, then you'll get 31 miles. And of course, you can double that with the battery because this e-bike can be fitted with 2 batteries, which can double the range. Let's talk about the ride of this e-bike. It's not that difficult to learn how to ride this e-bike. It's just that you need to get going a little bit more than a typical bike. You need to have a little bit of velocity to even get started. It's 2 wheels. There is not a third wheel. This is a cargo e-bike that can bring a lot of weight. I mean, you can comfortably carry a lot of weight. It's just that you have to get it going first before you move the load. What's very different about this e-bike is that you don't want to think of it as a typical e-bike that you see on this channel. This is more like a bicycle with electric assist. It is first and foremost a bicycle. And then once you get moving, then the electric starts assisting you. You need to pedal to get up to speed. You need to pedal to increase speed. You need to pedal to maintain that speed. There is no throttle. There is no cruise control. There is no walking mode. There is no ghost pedaling. Your shifting mechanism becomes your bread and butter. It controls how you take off. It controls the way you move down the street. It controls how you manage speed to keep up with traffic. There is a lot of involvement to keep the cycle in motion. And despite that, the front cargo loading area is fantastic for people. It's fantastic for actual cargo like groceries. The cargo space is just made better than anything else on the market. And because of the looks of the Riese Muller Load 60, the e-bike is a total eye catcher. Parents will be looking at you, giving you that funny look as if you were trying to kidnap their children. And who can blame them? The Riese Muller Load 60 is incredibly inviting. It is incredibly fun and incredibly expensive. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. See you in the next one. Take care.